Hello, and welcome to the third episode of Straight and Narrow. Whether you are a returning listener or this is your very first episode, I'm grateful that you are here. In today's episode, you will be hearing a conversation that I had with a woman at the Annapolis docks. This conversation actually ended sooner than I was hoping, but you will definitely hear the point where she is really contemplating what she believes. And I will speak more on that at the end of the episode. So please make sure you listen to the entire episode, and I pray that this gospel encounter sparks your heart to make the truth of the gospel known. I'm Aramis. Got a couple questions for you. The first one is, if you could ask God any question, what would it be?
Why, I guess. Why are we here?
Why are we here?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Is there anything that would make you feel that one specifically?
No, I feel like we're all just trying to find our purpose. So I'd love to know what his plan is.
No, I agree with that. Well, the next question is, do you believe in an afterlife?
I believe like our energies can be carried over into like another dimension, probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you're not thinking like heaven?
No, I don't think it's that like literal.
Okay. All right. So let me put this out there and kind of get your thoughts. So, do you believe in an actual God?
I think I believe in like energy frequencies.
Okay. So here's a question to think about. That bench over there, right? Would you say that someone built that bench, like someone made it?
Yeah.
What gives you the confidence to know someone made it?
The way it's structured.
Yeah, and it's there. We can see it. We can sit on it. It works. So when you look at the world, when you look at creation, it points to a creator. Like, we probably will never maybe even meet the person that made it, but we know someone did because it's there. So you look around, you look at this beautiful fall weather, the trees, and the world that we live in and around us. It's pointing to the fact that there is a creator, right? We can't just snap our fingers and form a tree out of nowhere, right? It has to come from something, has to come from an intelligent being. So that concept points to there being a God, right?
I think we're probably the lowest intelligent. I mean, not the lowest, obviously, but yeah, there's definitely more intelligence out there.
The next question is kind of going off of that. Have you ever heard of the good person test before?
No.
So the good person test, it kind of challenges, like, as human beings, if we're actually good. So have you read the Bible at all at any point in time?
I grew up I was like Catholic, raised Catholic. So
Okay.
I went to CCD.
Gotcha. So you probably heard of the 10 Commandments? Okay, so the 10 Commandments are a perfect test for the good person test because it's God's moral standard, right? And the word good actually means moral excellence. So God is pointing to his standard in that. So we'll just go through a couple of them if you're good with that.
Okay.
All right, so the first one is, have you ever told a lie? Yes? Okay. Yes. All right, I'm glad you're so honest. Normally people are like, but I'm glad you're honest. Second one is, have you ever stolen before? Yes. Same with me. I stole a toy from my daycare when I was young. The next one is use God's name in vain. Yes. Got it. Same here. So that's just 3. There's a 10 list. So based on that standard, if we're going by God's standard and he were to judge us, right, would you be considered innocent or guilty?
I don't believe in that standard, so I don't think I would even answer that question.
What makes you say that?
I think it's just so rigid. When you start putting God in rigid forms like that, then not everybody can identify with him. To me, it's simple. God is being kind and being a good person. So anybody who does that, it's not that strict. Maybe you stole for something. Maybe I've stolen things maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I did it for something. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think any person can hold judgment, and that is reserved for God, a higher intelligence, because on Earth we have all these arbitrary rules, but we don't really.
I hear what you're saying.
We don't abide them because they don't really add up with what like the expectations of our life and like pleasing people in our lives and ourselves. So
do you feel like there is some sort of standard that people should live by?
of course, but I think it's personal.
Okay, so you're saying that the standard is based on what someone thinks, right?
What you think
Okay.
in your own heart.
Okay. So let's say like my standard is I feel like because I haven't given a lot in life, I can kind of just take what I want, right? And I say that's my standard. That's how I'm going to live. So I go and I take from people. I just take things because it's what I need. Would you say that that would be moral of me to do that?
I think you would know that it wasn't okay if you had like would say, oh, like I don't have these things, so I'm going to take them even though they don't belong to me. You would subconsciously know that that wasn't right.
Okay, so you're saying there's something within us, innate within us to know that. Where do you think that moral standard comes from?
I think that's the God that we're all born with.
Okay, so if we're humans, right, and you say we're on a low rung as far as intelligence goes, if we have the ability to know some of these rights and wrongs, wouldn't you think the creator of those rights and wrongs would have a higher standard than us? Like he would be way higher on that rung, so his standard doesn't even compare to ours?
I think we have to live up to a standard, and I mean, we're always going to have like a high expectation for ourselves. What you hope to have a high expectation for yourself, but I mean, if you don't, I mean, then I don't know. That's where I kind of get into like maybe there is like I don't know another not an afterlife, so to speak, but like you get to like try again maybe and like kind of like go through the motions and like know what you're supposed to know from the earth and then go on to higher. But my boyfriend's gonna kill me.
Oh no, you're good. I appreciate you taking the time. I thank you so much for taking the time. This was definitely a memorable interview, considering that she didn't actually stay for the whole interview. I would like to add that before her and her boyfriend left, I gave them both a gospel tract. A gospel tract is something that you can give to someone that has the gospel somewhere on it. There's so many benefits to a gospel tract, and I would actually like to make a full episode on gospel tracts. But one of the main benefits is that when that person receives that tract, they take the gospel home with them. And we never know what God can do with that and allow that person to read and believe the gospel. Another thing is that in this interview, I didn't actually get to share the gospel with her. So a gospel tract really comes in handy for something like that. So even if a gospel encounter seems to go wrong, those tracts can still be used by God to open the eyes of the person. You could also hear how towards the end she really started to question what she actually believed. She was really considering what is true about the afterlife. She also switched up in saying that we have to live up to a certain standard. Because if everyone lived by their own standard, society would crumble. In order to say something is truly wrong or evil, it has to be compared to what is truly good and perfect. And by her own admission, humans are pretty low on the good spectrum. So we can say that something is evil because we can compare it against a perfect God. And we have God's moral law to help us do that. All of these moments in this conversation are really seeds being planted. And we know that God is the one who will take that seed and allow it to grow. So we pray that He will, and that the woman at the dock will be saved. I truly am so happy to speak about these gospel truths with you all, and I pray that you have been blessed. Remember to love your neighbor and share the gospel.